Hi, John. Thanks for having us again on this week's Saturday Summary. I couldn't agree with you more about your theme this week of kind of a shift in the markets and that a storm is really brewing. We really sense this storm ourselves. In fact, we go back to October 1st when our primary indicators at the Gebhardt Group indicated a trend reversal for us. We actually advised our clients at that point to take a much more defensive position and actually saw clients repositioning assets into what we call protect mode or a defense mode, where they wound up being anywhere between 40 and 75% in cash. You know, I can't help but watching this turbulence in the market and really think back to some of the scariest airplane flights I've ever taken in my life. So it's kind of apropos that here I am today reporting to you and your viewers on the Saturday Summary from a hotel right next to O'Hare International Airport. There's one flight in particular that really stands out, and it was one I took with my wife and my newborn son 14 years ago on our way home from my brother's wedding. It was probably the bumpiest flight I can ever remember being on. I had a newborn son on my lap, screaming the whole flight. I had a wife sitting next to me who was sicker than sick, and all we were told to do was sit still, buckle our seatbelts, and hope that we might get to our destination at some point safely. By the time we got off that plane, I was incredibly frustrated because I really felt a sense that the pilots had just stuck us on autopilot and just charged through the storm of the century, in effect. Why didn't these guys just adjust the altitude? Or better yet, why didn't they even think about putting the plane on the ground? Because at least then we could have gotten up and stretched our legs and quieted down this screaming baby of ours and at least had some relief from all the bouncing around. The reason I share that with our viewers today is because I imagine so many investors are feeling that way with all the turbulence that we're seeing in the markets, with volatility back to levels that we haven't seen since the fourth quarter of 2011. These are new old feelings kind of coming back to us again, this volatility, this bumpiness, this turbulence. And if investors are having the kinds of flashbacks that I've recently have about some of the bumpy flights I've taken in the course of my career, then maybe it's time to consider not just flying our retirement savings on autopilot, hoping to reach our destination safely one day. As I mentioned earlier in my report, our wealth management clients are nice and safely sitting at a different altitude at this point, anywhere from 40 to 70% in what we call protect mode. Now, I encourage our viewers to consider getting off autopilot and seeking the expert guidance that airline pilots have, because this isn't an easy game. This isn't something that we can just take a gut feeling or an emotion and make a decision on. That's some pretty dangerous business. So I recommend that our viewers seek out some expert guidance that relies on very sophisticated instrument panels and indicators to help them adjust their altitude. At the end of the day, if we're getting sick and tired of this turbulence, we can't just sit still and be quiet hoping we get to our destination safely. We need to do something about it. So, reporting to you from O'Hare International Airport, one of the busiest airports on earth, I'm Matthew Grishman. Back to you, John.